San Bernardino, as many of you know, was a wonderful place to grow up in the 1960s, and I tell my students that it was called the All-American City. I come before you today as a common citizen on behalf of the survivors of December 2nd, 2015 terrorist shooting. I have become aware through public statements made by some survivors that they have experienced numerous delays and/or denials of medical, surgical, psychological, or physical therapy treatments that their doctors have requested. One of several examples I have read about is a letter dated December 6, 2016, written by the County of San Bernardino, to the County of San Bernardino by a licensed psychotherapist in the state of California, Nicole Borquin. In the main body of the letter, she says, quote, "My biggest concern is that these victims have not had the adequate care needed, and thus they will now have a longer recovery, even perhaps long-lasting neurological problems," unquote. She goes on to quote at some length Dr. Laura Hamilton, who is with the Association of Traumatic Stress Specialists. She makes several pertinent points that are relevant to the critical need for ongoing medical and psychological care of our terrorist survivors. She says at one point that if there is not ongoing care for these victims, quote, by the 5th month stage, there are distinct changes in the brain that are occurring and are visible with PET scans as well as MRIs. At this point, PTSD is diagnosed, unquote. My purpose for speaking to you today is not to point fingers or lay blame on anyone, but to encourage the board to take the actions to expedite any process that is necessary for immediate care for the medical needs of our San Bernardino terrorist victims. These victims must be dealt with in a creative and speedy way. Please get them the help they need. I know that the process can be cumbersome, like working through workmen's compensation regulations and utilization review processes. But I'm asking the county to take unprecedented and aggressive actions, as was done for these victims for the first 2 months of the crisis. Please fill the medical requests of the victims first, and then solve the bureaucratic details. We have a golden opportunity to show the rest of America and the world how we treat our survivors who are experiencing the ongoing effects of unthinkable terrorist violence. Thank you for your attention to my request.